I was so afraid.
Of the surgery.
I was absolutely so afraid.
And the recovery.
Every day I would come home to my 3 children and my wife, and I'm getting worse. I got, anywhere between you're absolutely crazy, there's nothing wrong with you, it's just in your head, go home, to hey, you got a serious problem. I don't know. I have no idea.
We have been at Mercy Hill since 2013. Yeah, so 12 years. It was Burr Mill, tiny little Burr Mill, 100 people.
We needed to find a church to get plugged into. We went to Mercy Hill and literally went one time, had plans of going to try like 20 different churches. We went to Mercy Hill one time. We never went to another church. We've been going there ever since. He subluxed C4, C5, so literally just slipped vertebrae over top of one another, effectively severing his spinal cord. Was instantly paralyzed. He ended up getting transferred to a hospital in Denver, Colorado, Craig Hospital, where all they do is brain injuries and spinal cord injuries. So that was 5 or 6 hours from where I had grown up, and I was getting ready to go to Chicago to start optometry school. I went and visited him a couple different times, and it's crazy because I remember being in that place and just having this almost fear because everyone in there is in such an unbelievably difficult position. I hit the crown of my head on the sand and I remember instantly thinking, I cannot believe I did not knock myself out. And then I'm also like, man, I felt like I got electrocuted. And I tried to stand up and I couldn't move. I had broke the 7th vertebrae in my cervical spine. So my arm still functioned, but chest down, completely paralyzed. Spend 3 days in ICU. I wake up and kind of come to, and what I'm told is, you broke your neck, you are a quadriplegic, you will never walk again. You need to find a rehab facility. Well, the best rehab facility in the world is in Denver, Colorado, Craig Hospital. And I'm like, well, that's ironic. My first cousin is there. For 4 to 5 months, I'm living in this hospital. My cousin is 2 doors down. We're both paralyzed. He's a little higher injury. His was a little bit more severe. So then my mom is living with me. Her brother, my uncle, is living with Jake. And so for 4 months, we're just in this hospital trying to rehab. And just a testament really to God's faithfulness. There would be 50, 60, 70 people in that hospital at all times. And there was one night we're sitting there, my sister-in-law is praying, and it's late, and my buddy who was with me when we ran the race is standing at the foot of the bed, and he's got his hand on my feet, and I got my eyes closed. And I'm not kidding. All of a sudden, I get this sense of like the wind starts blowing. I'm like, we're in the hospital. Why is the wind blowing? And my sister-in-law is just pleading with the Lord, praying. And all of a sudden, I'm just, whoa, somebody touched me. And I haven't felt anything in my lower body for 3 weeks. And I look down and my buddy Brian's hand is on my foot. And it's the first time I can feel it. And my sister-in-law is still praying, and he's like, move your toe, move your toe. And I mean, it did this, but like the whole place went crazy. A very common condition with spinal cord injuries is autonomic dysreflexia. Basically, he woke up one morning, was doing fine, developed autonomic dysreflexia. His blood pressure goes 260 over 220. He has a brainstem stroke and dies.
It was kind of all of a sudden that you were bent over. You had these terrible, it wasn't spasms, it was like muscle tone that just contorted him into a very uncomfortable position. You had cold intolerance to the point where, like, we were at one of our kids' baseball games. It was 60 degrees outside, and he was borderline hypothermic in multiple blankets and had to go sit in the car. It was 60, and he's like, I can't even coach my kids' game. Like, all of a sudden, 18 years later, what is happening to me? And then the autonomic dysreflexia, that was the scariest thing because it was threatening to kill him because it killed his first cousin. Our kids are learning how to apply nitroglycerine paste to their dad's forehead if he's stroke level, if I'm not there. Like, this is really, really sad. And I had multiple friends. Friends have been huge throughout all this, who would always say, don't feel bad about that. God has this as a part of their story too. Like, this is as much a part of their story as it is for ours. And so I always try to remember that when it gets hard with what they have to deal with.
I was so afraid.
of the surgery
I was absolutely so afraid.
and the
I mean,
recovery?
first you think about now I'm getting autonomic dysreflexia. That's what killed my cousin. I mean, I'm copying my cousin all the way. He breaks his neck, I break my neck. He gets this problem, I get this problem. He dies, I'm like, is that it? And so just really, really wrestling with PTSD and fear and just incredible anxiety of like, I don't want to do this. But every day I would come home to my 3 children and my wife, and I'm getting worse. And I'm almost to the point where I can't even see patients anymore.
You were using walking sticks, like canes, pretty consistently. I mean, he was heading back to a chair, like steadily and not slowly.
What an opportunity to trust the Lord, because it's like, man, I have no idea what is going to happen. And I mean, what helped so much was just to constantly look back and go, man, God has been faithful here. He's been faithful there. He's never not been faithful. Why in the world is he going to stop now? Something that I'll never forget is that when I woke up, I was having a conversation with Charlotte. And I'm like, babe, what were you doing for the last 12 hours? And she's like, I was literally running circles around the hospital, praying for you. And I just like that. I've thought about that every single day of like, what a gift. I mean, I'm laying there half dead on a 12-hour surgery, and my wife is literally just constantly circling my body. The reason there was so much confidence and lack of fear is because there were thousands of people pleading with the Lord.
And it's been 4 months since the surgery, and we have seen steady improvement in a lot of things. I think we were hoping for like back to being 24, recovered from a broken neck, and you can jog, around the neighborhood. And that hasn't happened, and maybe it will. Like, we're still gonna trust in God's faithfulness even now, having not seen the huge improvement that we wanted, but the goal of the surgery was to stop progression. It 100% did.
If we would just have the eyes just slow down and open and see, I mean, like, he is moving things around and case in point, we're telling this story, like, my life's been unbelievably difficult, but the reason I'm able to get through it is because I continue to look back and say, look at all this stuff that he's doing. Look at all these pieces that he's moving around. The story's not over. It's still being written.